alone.
Leave the issue alone. And if Republicans don't, they'll pay the price again on the next election day. Joining me now is Zerlina Maxwell, contributor to thegrio.com, and Alicia Menendez, host and producer for HuffPost Live. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you, Rev.
Alicia, let me start with you. So the Republicans lost the election, and now Republican governors and lawmakers are pushing the same kind of policy that caused their big disaster on election night.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. And at the same time, it makes sense. If you can't win the new coalition, if you can't win African Americans, Hispanics, women, young Americans, then you just stop them from voting. I mean, that's part of what we're seeing in Virginia. And then when it comes to these questions of reproductive rights, of access, what we're seeing out of Ohio, it doesn't make any sense. Planned Parenthood, only 3% of the services they offer are abortion services. The rest of the services are about rural women, poor women having access to mammograms. Only 3%. And so when you choose Planned Parenthood as your target, that means you're not actually arguing about the sanctity of life or about stopping abortions. It means that you're picking a political fight. So they're doing this. They're doing it very purposefully, and it's going to backfire against them.
Now, Zerlina, when you look at the 2013 map, 24 states will have Republican governors with Republican legislatures. 24. Will these GOP politicians just ignore the lessons of the election and just try to ram through this far-right legislation?
I think so, and that's very unfortunate, because what's going to happen is they're going to continue to put anti-choice legislation through the state legislatures, and they're going to pass. Because right now there's already, in many of the states, legislation that is unconstitutional, according to Roe v. Wade. So it's going to come up against the court system, and then it's going to go through the courts all the way up to the Supreme Court, and then we have a conservative court. Fortunately, President Obama came out on top, and so likely he's going to appoint the successors to Ginsburg and perhaps even Stephen Breyer. So we're going to see what's going to happen. But on the state level, there's certainly, they've completely ignored the lessons of any election that has taken place, whether it be 2012 or 2010. And they're just going to continue along this path.
Now, Alicia, when you look at Scott Walker's call for ending same-day voter registration in Wisconsin, I mean, let me show you where it says there's no way we'd be in favor of that. The Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association said. He's claiming they're overworked. The association themselves are saying they wouldn't be in favor of that. But the courts, being conservative, may uphold them on this, which is why the fight is continuing.
Yeah, you know, it should be the easiest day of the year to register to vote. It's the day where there's the greatest interest. And instead of having that conversation about how we get more people to vote, we're having a conversation about limiting voter. At least now we're not hearing this jargon about voter fraud. Now we're hearing an entirely new mythology about the fact that we have poll workers who are simply too overworked. I mean, neither of those memes holds up. And I think that you're going to see that. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. We should want more people voting. We should want a stronger democracy. We should not be trying to keep people out of the system.
You know, Zerlina, the night of the election, the night of the big defeat, you started hearing all of this about expand the party. We need to reach out. We must be more inclusive. And with good reason, when you look at the exit polling, with unmarried women, the president was ahead 67% to 31%. Hispanics, 71% voted for President Obama, as opposed to 27% for Mitt Romney. African Americans, 93% voted for President Obama, only 6% for Mitt Romney. Yet, now you have the governors and these legislators ignoring all of that. It seems like they are going on like the election never happened in some states.
They have amnesia, apparently, because they're getting the gold medal and doing things that nobody wants done. And so I think that, you know, Republicans need a complete overhaul of their party. The problem isn't extremists like Akin or Murdoch. It's the fact that they're not extreme within the Republican Party. They're actually the mainstream, right? Akin and Murdoch expressed vocally what is actually in the party platform. And so it's just that they're outside of the mainstream of the country. And of course they're going to ignore the election because they need a complete overhaul, and that takes a lot more effort.
Alicia, let me ask you almost the same thing. What happened to the rhetoric the night of being more inclusive, of broadening their base, and now we see the governors in these states going back to the same kinds of legislation and rhetoric they had before? And not only the governors in the states, let me even put this in addition as an addendum to my question. The House has a new bill on immigration, GOP House members, and it's an immigration bill. The good of the bill is it helps green card holders bring family to the U.S. But the bad is it ends a visa program aimed at immigrants from Africa. So they can't even have a straight immigration reform bill that doesn't almost cancel itself out.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're used to seeing. This is Representative Lamar Smith basically wiping out diversity visas and replacing them with visas for foreign students who come to the U.S. and have degrees in math, science, technology. There's no argument about high-skill immigrants. The argument that we're having in this country, the conversation that we need to have, is about the 11 million immigrants who live in the shadows, most of them low-skilled workers. And so what we see here is Republicans like Representative Smith robbing Peter to pay Paul, and there's no reason you need to do that. We can increase access for those high-skilled immigrants at the same time that we increase access for low-skilled immigrants. But that's the conversation we need to have, and the fact that they hide under this guise of increasing family unity is disgusting in my mind.
Alicia Menendez and Zerlina Maxwell, thank you both for your time tonight.
Thank you, Rev.
Thank you.
Coming up, the